Good Tuesday morning. I'm NTV Chief Meteorologist Eddie Shear. It is now 8:23 a.m. on January 15th, 2019, and this is your weather update for the morning. I thought it would be good to get one of these out so you know what to expect as we go throughout the rest of today. We have several weather alerts in place from Environment Canada ahead of our arriving winter storm. Rainfall warnings in place for the Avalon Peninsula southeast, southwest, and St. John's vicinity for significant rainfall this afternoon into this evening, possibly exceeding 30 millimeters in some spots. Localized flooding, a good possibility because the ground is frozen in many areas, but the rainfall will be after we see 5 to 15 centimeters of snow. So it's going to be a pretty messy day on the Avalon. The Avalon North forecast there a bit more uncertain. Could see a little more in the way of snow and a little less in the way of rain. So a special weather statement is in place there. But it's as we get across Trinity and Placentia Bays, we are going to see significant snow and high winds, which is why a winter storm warning is in place there. As far west as Conagra to Gander, this area will see snow and high winds as we go throughout today. Snowfall in some areas possibly exceeding 30 centimeters. As we go back a little farther to the west, Buckens in the interior, Grand Falls, Windsor and vicinity, and Bay of Exploits, we're going to see significant snow here, but a little less in the way of wind, which is why we have a snowfall warning currently in effect. As we take a look at the current radar imagery across eastern areas of Newfoundland, we can see that snow is in the process of moving in. It's becoming heavy rather quickly once it does start ahead of our incoming area of low pressure. And as we back the view out, we can see the bowling ball swirl there south of Newfoundland. That's our low. Moisture well ahead of it now, spreading across the island. Snow likely falling along the south coast, pushing into central very shortly. And many of us are going to be seeing snow becoming heavy at times as we go throughout the morning. It's eastern areas that will see that snow changing over to rain by the time the afternoon rolls around. So here's Futurecast. We'll start us off 8 o'clock this morning. Notice as we go into lunchtime, still snowing across eastern areas of Newfoundland, almost everywhere except on the southeast part of the Avalon, where that ice pellet freezing rain mix has moved on shore there in pink, and there's the rain there in green. Notice the yellows there indicating intense areas of precipitation. So the snow, as we get into the early afternoon, is going to become heavy as those winds pick up from the east and northeast. As we go into 3-4 o'clock this afternoon, we see that rain-snow line pushing onto a good chunk of the Avalon Peninsula back toward Placentia Bay. But areas in the western flank of Placentia Bay, Trinity Bay, back to Gander and the northeast coast, still seeing moderate to heavy snowfall and high winds. Something I'm slightly concerned about is you see the winds here on this computer model staying northerly on the Avalon Peninsula for a good chunk of the day. If they do that, we may see rain going over to ice pellets and freezing rain for a long time rather than just rain, especially up north. So that's something I'm going to be watching very closely as we go throughout the afternoon. And notice the computer model keeps those winds northerly on the northeast Avalon. So again, even though the computer's showing 1, with winds from the north, typically we can get freezing rain. So I'm going to watch that very closely. As we go farther south, we see heavy rainfall by 6 o'clock in the evening, slightly warmer temperatures and offshore gusty winds. Winds by this evening gusting close to 100 for many areas. But again, on that western flank of Trinity Bay, Placentia Bay, still seeing the heavy snowfall up onto the northeast coast where temperatures stay well below freezing. And it looks like by 9-10 o'clock this evening, we see the cold air beginning to move back in on northwesterly winds. So that rain-snow line pushes back offshore. And on the Avalon, looks like a few more hours of light snowfall as we go into the evening with high winds, but very little in the way of additional accumulation. So far as the snowfall totals go, by the time we're all said and done early tomorrow morning, the highest amounts are going to be to the west of the Avalon Peninsula, and we're talking just to the west. But it looks like once we're west of Gander, and especially Grand Falls, Windsor, snowfall amounts less than 5 centimeters. But for Gander, it looks like a solid 15 to 20 centimeters for you. Same thing back towards St. Albans. But as we get a little bit farther to the east, we see more in the way of that snowfall from the Burin Peninsula up through Clarenville onto the Bonavista Peninsula, where we see up to 30 centimeters of snow. And the computer model also showing between 15 and 20 centimeters of snow up onto the Bay de Verde Peninsula. If there's going to be an area that sees over 30 centimeters, it's likely going to be on the Bonavista Peninsula, which is what the computer here is showing rather well. Between 30 and 40 or 40 and 50 centimeters possible there. I would say between 30 and 45 likely on the northern part of the Bonavista Peninsula. But what this does not show is rainfall, and again, rainfall going to be heavy for parts of the Avalon Peninsula this afternoon, with that risk of freezing rain for northern areas of the Avalon, including the St. John's Metro, as we head into this afternoon as well. So that's the forecast update for the morning. I'll be watching it closely as we go throughout the afternoon. Stay safe and have a great day. One thing of note, I do want to mention this as well. From basically Fogo Island around Bonavista Bay toward the Bonavista Peninsula, winds are going to pick up this evening, gusting close to 100 kilometers per hour. It looks like close to when the snow is beginning to lighten up, but as that happens, we're going to see areas of blowing and drifting snow and very high winds and blizzard-like conditions. So exposed areas of northeastern Newfoundland, around Bonavista Bay, and especially on the Bonavista Peninsula, exposed areas may become very difficult, if not impossible, to travel on. So if you have to travel today, I would advise doing it earlier if you have to, rather than later, because I think tonight it's going to be quite bad. Something to keep in mind. Stay safe, have a great day, and follow my social media for more updates as we go into the afternoon.